All right, let's talk about something we've all seen. You're in the zone, your Python code is flowing, and then, bam, you're stopped dead in your tracks by a big red name error. If that sounds familiar, well, you're in the right place. We're going to dive in and figure out how to conquer one of Python's most common hurdles.
You know, it's so frustrating, isn't it? You think your logic is totally sound, you hit run, and the whole thing just grinds to a halt. It really feels like the computer is just being difficult, but I promise you, it's not. That error message is actually Python's way of trying to communicate with you, of trying to help.
Okay, so this definition sounds a little official, but let's break it down. When Python throws a name error, all it's really saying is, hey, I've looked everywhere and I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about with this name. It's basically Python raising its hand and saying, help, I can't find a definition for this.
So to figure this out, we need to put on our detective hats for a minute. It turns out there are usually three main suspects whenever a name error pops up. Once you understand how they operate, you can stop them in their tracks. Let's get this investigation started.
Okay, our first and honestly most common culprit is just trying to use a variable before you've even told Python what it is. It's kind of like asking a friend to pass you that thingamajig without ever saying what that thingamajig is. You're just setting yourself up for confusion.
Let's look at this in action. Over on the left, we're asking Python to print the variable total. But Python is thinking, total? I've never seen that before in my life. And boom, name error. The fix, as you can see on the right, is super simple. We just have to define it first. We say total equals 10, and then we ask to print it. Now Python knows exactly what we mean. So rule number one, always define it before you use it.
All right, let's move on to suspect number 2. And this one is a true master of disguise, the simple typo. It happens to everyone, one wrong letter, but for a computer that needs everything to be exact, it is an absolute deal breaker.
And here is a classic example. We create our variable marks and set it to 85. Perfect. But then in the very next line, our fingers slip and we type mrax. Now to our human eyes, that's obviously just a typo. But to Python, marks and rax are two completely different things. And since mrax was never actually created, you guessed it, name error. The fix is so simple, but so crucial. Just double check your spelling.
Our final culprit is a little more subtle, but it's just as important to understand. It's what we call the out-of-scope variable. The easiest way to think about this is to imagine a function in your code is like a box. Any variables you create inside that box can't be seen or used by the code outside the box. They're basically trapped in there.
So check this out. The variable x is born inside the show function. On the left, when we try to print x from outside that function, Python just can't see it. It's like trying to see through the walls of the box. So it throws a name error. The solution isn't to break the box open, but to work with it. As you see on the right, if we just move the print statement inside the function where x lives, everything works like a charm. So we've unmasked our three main culprits. Now for the really good part. Stopping them is actually pretty easy if you just follow 3 simple rules. We're going to switch from being detectives to being proactive.
It really all boils down to these 3 things. First, define before you use. Just give Python an introduction to your variable before you ask it to do anything with it. Second, double-check your spelling. Because computers are literal, they don't do close enough. And third, respect the scope. Understand where your variables live and don't try to access them from outside their home. Seriously, these 3 rules are like a shield that will protect you from almost every name error out there.
And that's really it. By understanding those 3 core ideas, you've gone from being a victim of the name error to being the one in control. And this isn't just about fixing one type of bug. It's about learning to think a little more like Python thinks, which is going to make you a way more effective and confident coder. So take that confidence and run with it. Remember, every error you figure out is a new skill you've just added to your toolkit. Now that name error is no longer a mystery, what's next on your list? What's the next challenge you're ready to tackle? Keep on learning, keep on coding, and keep on squashing those bugs. Thanks for joining me.